Let's get in another big corporate voice, none other than Rishad Premji, Chief Strategy Officer at Wipro and Chairman of software lobby NASSCOM, says the results of IT companies this quarter indicates that tech demand is buoyant. He spoke to ET Now's Chandra Srikanth in an exclusive chat. Listen in.
It's difficult to comment broadly for everybody whether it's a secular trend, but I think based on the results that you've seen from multiple companies, it seems to be broad-based, and certainly demand seems to be buoyant, and verticals that were perhaps not doing well on a broad basis before are also picking up. And I think just the fact that the economies of the world are doing well, that hopefully translates well for technology spend as we move forward as well. So
and
I'm hopeful.
The biggest markets, particularly the US and BFSI, which has been the bread and butter for IT, that's doing well now.
Correct. So
Okay.
so as I said, it bodes well, I think.
Right. And in terms of the uncertainty around digital, initially, there was a lot of uncertainty on just what clients are going to do. Is there a lot more certainty now on just where they want to spend, how they want to spend? Is that why we are seeing some sort of a resurgence coming back to the sector?
No, I think as you look at digital spend and digital growth for most of the players, it's been very positive this quarter.
Right.
Look, I think the movement on industrialization of spend around digital, the fact that most people want to modernize their applications, move to cloud native applications, really redesign, reimagine their processes, I think that bodes well for digital spend, and so clearly bodes well more broadly for technology services companies as well.
Right. The other issue that's been weighing on everyone's minds is a double whammy of sorts coming from the US Citizenship and Immigration Services. They've said that as part of the fall session, they're not just going to review the definition of specialty occupation under H1B, but they will also revoke work permits of H4 users. Is this going to be a big dent at all, or has visa usage been coming down with localization efforts being stepped up by companies?
Yeah. So I think one should not read too much into it, because there's nothing new that has been mentioned. It's simply a repeat as a part of the mention of what the issues they're going to cover. They're going to raise what issues they're going to consider covering. So I would not be too overtly concerned about what you're reading into that. Two is exactly to your point. Broadly, the industry is localizing quite aggressively, and if I look over the last 2 years, the usage of visas by Indian technology services companies has come down dramatically. If I look at the usage of visas last year, the Indian IT companies use less than 15% of those visas. And it's important that we don't confuse the usage by Indian companies with how many
Indian professionals working
exactly,
for multinational
vis-a-vis
companies.
Indian professionals. And they're very distinct facts, and oftentimes we tend to blur the two. So the dependency on visas is coming down. The issue is not a new issue that is being raised. And broadly, the industry is localizing quite aggressively. So I would not be overly concerned. Absolutely, we must watch it and be on top of it, but I'm not overly concerned because it's not something new that's developed.
Are you optimistic of working this out at all with the government's help? Because, US has been able to push through whatever it's wanted to in the last few years. It's not just rhetoric anymore. So in terms of the bargaining power, are we there at all?
Look, these things, nothing has changed legislatively, right? There are a few changes in terms of requests for evidence, some administrative processes, but nothing has changed legislatively. So I think we've got to wait and watch before we jump the gun. And certainly as an industry association, we are very much on top of it, working closely with our stakeholders, working closely with government, working closely with partners. So I'm quite hopeful that we will resolve this to everyone's satisfaction.